Hi, everyone, and welcome to 5 and 5, the video series where Complete Discovery Source teams up with Relativity to break down 5 essential AI and e-discovery questions in just 5 minutes. I'm Mike Milicevic, Vice President of e-discovery Product and Solution at CDS, and I'm joined by Nathan Reff, Manager of Applied Science at Relativity. Today, we'll talk about how aiR for Review ensures the most accurate, consistent, and defensible results possible, and of course, the important role that legal technologists play in the iteration and validation process. Nathan, thanks very much for being here.
Glad to be here, Mike.
First question for you. How can users validate their aiR results?
Yeah, so the way that we built our aiR products was to have defensibility and transparency as a central component. And we wanted to make sure that the results that we service to users include both a direct citation from the document along with rationale and considerations. And we actually also built an independent algorithm from the large language model to ensure that the citations that we're extracting from the document are actually contained in the document and grounding its decisions.
Got it. It's very cool. So Relativity is actually providing built-in hallucination protections with their own validation algorithms, along with making it easy for users to jump to those direct citations and verify them for themselves. Next question, what types of metrics does Relativity track to make sure that aiR is providing the optimal results?
Yeah, so we tested multiple matters across multitudes of customers to ensure that our aiR products were performing well within our customers' expectations. So for both aiR for Review and aiR for Privilege, for example, we were ensuring that we achieved a high recall, that is finding the most relevant documents, while having a desirable precision level. So that is making sure that our customers are not wasting their time looking through the non-relevant documents.
Got it. That makes sense. Precision and recall are certainly familiar metrics for our users that have run TAR models in the past. Another question we've heard from many of our clients has to do with repeatability. Specifically, are aiR results repeatable, and is it possible to receive deterministic outcomes with aiR?
Yeah, so while large language models are probabilistic in nature, when you ground their context, instruction, and also the output expectations correctly, you can get much closer to deterministic outputs. And that was certainly an important component to how we built our aiR products. And we actually tested this also many times with our customers to ensure that we saw minimal variability in the results. And one thing that I actually found impressive during this experimentation was I was testing myself as well on deterministic behavior, and I found that aiR was much better at making the same predictions. So it's a very promising approach.
I'd say so. That's pretty neat. It's almost like the student becomes better than the teacher, right? Speaking of teachers, does aiR improve as it's exposed to more data? In other words, is it learning as it goes?
Yeah, so the way that we built aiR is that we have a human expert that's in the loop driving the very critical decisions, be it the definition of relevance or who are the privilege conferring or breaking individuals. And much like when a review attorney needs to confer with a senior attorney if they're making the right decisions, and they have to update that review protocol, we built an iterative approach to getting those initial conditions on the review correct before kicking off a larger review. And so the learning really comes from that, those initial conditions being set in place during iteration. And the models that we interact with aiR are stateless, and they're only making their decisions based off of the context, instructions, and documents alone, and not retaining any data. So you can kind of imagine a perfectionist four corners review using only the given instructions, but retaining no memory of the documents that it's seen.
Got it. So the magic really happens during that prompt iteration process to ensure those optimal results. So then, how do rich sample sets and clear review protocols help aiR perform at its best?
Yeah, so just like humans perform better with direct and succinct instructions, large language models have the same behavior. And during iteration, we found that it's optimal to try and make the sample more rich to ensure that you're providing instructions around those low richness scenarios correctly. And then when you go to validate this approach, that's when you want to take a more random representative sample, so you feel more comfortable kicking off a larger job to get the best results possible. So essentially the net here is to avoid legalese and just be direct. Tell it exactly what you want.
That's really interesting. I'm sure that some of our clients and colleagues who are used to writing those really long, tedious briefs and review protocols will be happy to hear that less is more with aiR, right? They can be as direct as possible and make sure they get the best results. Nathan, thanks so much for pulling back the curtain on how aiR delivers accurate, defensible, repeatable results. And to everyone watching, thanks for joining us. We've got more AI and e-discovery insights coming your way soon, so keep an eye out for the next episode of 5 and 5. Thanks again. See you next time.